What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak, and this is the 2020 Week 15 recap. And we're going to start off with the Thursday Night Football, the LA Chargers at the Vegas Raiders. The Raiders come into this game with a lot of players inactive, including rookie wide receiver Henry Ruggs with COVID, along with 4 defensive starters in safety Jonathan Abram, defensive end Clelin Ferrell, rookie corner Damon Arnett, and linebacker Nicholas Morrow. So the Raiders really injury hit coming in. Vegas had just fired defensive coordinator Paul Guenther after last week's home loss to the Colts, and the defense giving up 44 points. So they fire him after that game. D-line coach Rod Marinelli steps in as the interim DC. And before the first quarter can end, quarterback Derek Carr pulls up limping with a significant groin injury. Expected to miss 10 to 14 days, but last I heard, he practiced this week and expected to go in Week 16. So that's good news for the Raiders, but bad news to start this game. So the Raiders have to turn to backup quarterback Marcus Mariota, who comes in and is surprisingly effective. Has the Raiders driving late to take the lead, but throws an interception to corner Chris Harris. The Chargers had multiple opportunities to win this game in regulation, but 2 missed field goals by Michael Badgley forced overtime. And then in overtime, Justin Herbert with a quarterback sneak that crosses the goal line for the game-winning touchdown. The Chargers win 30-27 in overtime. A tough loss for the Raiders. Like I said, it was a must-win for them to get into the playoffs. Now they fall to 7-7 and out of the playoff picture. Expectations for the Raiders coming into this season were much higher and definitely had playoffs on their mind. And so missing the playoffs this year, tough year for Raider fans, and they'll hope to have a better success next year. I think it starts with bulking up the defense, getting more playmakers on the defense, and finding the right defensive coordinator. And on Twitter, Wade Phillips was saying that he's interested. So look for the Raiders to possibly go get Wade Phillips and try to get that defense playing at a better level. Because the offense has got, Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs, Darren Waller, Nelson Aguilar, plenty of weapons. So we'll see if the Raiders can get back and get into the playoffs. And for Marcus Mariota, a solid showing on Thursday Night Football in prime time for national TV. That alone might get him a shot somewhere else at competing for a starting job next year. So that's the hope. I mean, Mariota has shown potential, shown the ability to be a starter in this league, but he's just got to keep it going. Now let's go to Bills-Broncos on Saturday afternoon, as the Bills jump out to a 14-0 lead and pull away for an easy 48-19 blowout win, and the Bills clinch the AFC East Division Championship for the first time since 1995. So, hell of an accomplishment for the Bills. Some were not sold on quarterback Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming in the draft. But the Bills take him, and he leads them to a division title, something no Bills quarterback has done since Jim Kelly. So, pretty good, company if you're Josh Allen. A still pretty young quarterback. He can use his legs, the multi-threat quarterback, cannon of an arm. And really, I think the key to the Bills' success this year is the addition of Stephon Diggs, who kind of wore out his welcome in Minnesota, was labeled a diva wide receiver, comes to Buffalo, and has been nothing but a playmaker and professional. And Josh Allen loves him. The Bills are winning, and they improved to 11-3. Currently sitting at the 3 seed in the AFC and on a 4-game winning streak. Looking at the Broncos side of this, what's Denver's future? They fall to 5-9. A lot of question marks. Bronco fans were optimistic coming into this season, but I had my questions about quarterback Drew Lock and whether he could be a franchise quarterback in this league or not. And I think the questions are still there. And I think the Broncos need to be considering maybe drafting another quarterback to compete or bringing in a veteran to compete with Drew Lock to kind of push Drew Lock to see if he'll take that next step and be the man. He's shown flashes, but I'm just not sold on him yet. And then we'll see what the Broncos do at coach. Some rumors, fans unhappy with Vic Fangio, the job he's done as head coach. Will he return? Will he get fired? And as a Bears fan, I'm hoping that Vic Fangio gets fired because I would love to bring him back to Chicago as defensive coordinator. Chuck Pagano hasn't quite gotten it done, and the Bears were the best defense in football when Fangio was DC. So, Fangio might be one of those guys that's better off as a D coordinator than a head coach, but he's a hell of a defensive coordinator, I'll say that much. So let's go to Saturday night. The Panthers at the Packers. The Packers jump out to a 21-3 lead and hang on to win 24-16. A big play in this game, Teddy Bridgewater with a quarterback dive at the 1-yard line, and the ball gets knocked loose before it crosses the goal line, and it's recovered by the Packers corner Kevin King and returned past midfield. So a big play there, momentum swing. That could have gotten the Panthers. That could have kept the Panthers in this game a lot closer. But a big fumble there. The Panthers, all right, let's look at the Packers here. 1 win away from clinching the NFC's 1 seed. And, pretty much saying the playoffs got to go through Lambeau in the NFC. They host the Titans on Sunday Night Football in Week 16. Big-ass game. I think the Titans win this game in Lambeau. And it's a big test for Green Bay to show how improved their run D is. Their run D was what cost them a trip to the Super Bowl last year when the 49ers, when Raheem Mostert went off. And their run D, they didn't really do much this offseason to fix it. And so the run D is still pretty suspect. We've seen Dalvin Cook and others have success against Green Bay. So we'll see how they hold up against the best running back in football, the train, Derrick Henry, who should be getting MVP votes in my opinion, but that's a quarterback award. And speaking of MVP votes, Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, should be the favorite for MVP. If you're a Packer fan, you have to be impressed with the fact that all the drama in the offseason, the trading up, the drafting of Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers indicating that he was pissed off about the move, and it didn't affect him negatively on the field. If anything, it improved his game. It put a chip on his shoulder, and he's having an MVP season. So, kudos to Aaron Rodgers. He's not, he's still got it. He's still slinging the ball with the best of them. For the Panthers, they fall to 4-10 and will continue to rebuild and improve the roster as we expected. The Panthers do fire GM Marty Herney. So, we knew it was going to be a rebuild and it was going to take a little bit for the Panthers to retool that roster. So we'll see how they look in 2021. Let's go to Sunday. So the Texans and the Colts. Colts jump out to a 14-0 lead. Texans rally to tie the game at 20-20, but the Colts win 27-20 on a Phillip Rivers game-winning touchdown pass to Zach Pascal. Indy improves to 10-4 and will play at the Steelers in Week 16. The Steelers on a 3-game losing streak, so that could be a winnable game for the Colts, who are trying to keep pace with the Titans for first place in the AFC South. They're currently tied, and the tiebreaker goes to the Titans. The Texans fall to 4-10, despite Deshaun Watson having a hell of a year. Over 4,000 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. The Texans got to do a much better job surrounding him with talent and playmakers. And, some people, including myself, thought the Texans could survive the loss of DeAndre Hopkins and still be successful this year. And obviously not. So they need to do a better job giving Deshaun Watson more help. And they need to improve that defense. That defense in Houston is pretty bad. Marvin Lewis, former Bengals, longtime Bengals head coach, interviewed for the Texans job this week. So we'll see if he gets that. We'll see if Hugh Jackson follows as his offensive coordinator and what happens there. we'll see what happens with the Colts, but they should be heading to the playoffs. A big game in Week 16 at the Steelers. Can the Steelers get off their losing streak, or can the Colts get a big win? Let's go to Lions at the Titans. Titans jump out to a 21-7 lead and blow out the Lions 46-25. The Titans, 46 points, and a shocking stat, or maybe it shouldn't be shocking, but I don't think a lot of people know this. The Titans have the highest scoring offense in football. So, a lot of people are talking about who can beat the Chiefs. Is it the Bills? Is it the Steelers? Let's not forget last year's AFC Championship game, Titans-Chiefs, I think gave the Chiefs, besides the Super Bowl, gave the Chiefs the toughest test in the AFC was the Titans. And I think they have a roster built to compete and beat the Chiefs if they use it the right way with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, and the defense plays, to its potential. But Derrick Henry is a load to stop. As you see in this game, he has another one of those patented stiff arms where he bounces a Lions player off the turf. You give Derrick Henry a head of steam, and you're going to have a hard time slowing him down. No one wants to tackle that guy in the open field. So for the Lions, so a nice easy win for Tennessee. But the story coming out of this game is in Detroit with the Lions, as interim head coach Darrell Bevell fires special teams coach Braden Combs after he overrides a punt play call by the head coach and executes a fake punt run on 4th and 4 from the Lions' 31-yard line. The fake punt run is stopped half a yard short, resulting in a turnover on downs, giving the Titans great field position, already up 14 points. I call this the Mike McCarthy special, doing a fake punt deep in your own territory. Very risky, and in my opinion, a dumb call. The special teams coach, in my opinion, was trying to show off, and I think he knows he's gone. He's leaving Detroit at the end of the year, so maybe he was trying to show off and potentially land a better job this offseason. But to go against your head coach's play call, your head coach's decision, that's going to leave a bad mark on Braden Combs' resume. And kudos to Darrell Bevell for firing him after this. You can't have, dissension or people going AWOL in your coaching staff. So, weird story out of Detroit there. In this game, something that not a lot of people are talking about, Matthew Stafford completes a 3-yard no-look touchdown pass to wide receiver Marvin Jones in the back of the end zone between two defenders. Unreal throw, as he looks off the linebacker, looks to his right, gets the linebacker to move slightly to his right, and then throws a no-look touchdown pass between two defenders in the back of the end zone. It was beautiful. If Patrick Mahomes did this, everyone would be losing their minds. That right there, I don't think I've seen that from Stafford before. And it was a great throw. And you could see a lot. He got a lot of reaction on Twitter from former teammates. I'm talking Darius Slay, Quandre Diggs, Kyle Van Noy, guys like that. I believe Eric Ebron too. And it was like they were all so impressed and had nothing but positive stuff to say about Stafford and how he should get, an opportunity with better talent around him to see what he can do. I'm not as sold on that. I think that he's had a lot of talent in Detroit. He's had a top 3 wide receiver all time in Calvin Johnson. He's had a number 2 ranked defense in all of football in, I believe, 2014. So, but there's no doubt he's talented. He can play through injury. He's tough. And I think anyone would want him on their team. I'm just not so sure if I'm not sure if he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback or not. But it would be nice to see him get an opportunity to play meaningful, deep playoff games at some point in his career. So let's go to Bucs Falcons. The Falcons jump out to a 17-0 halftime lead, but the Bucs rally to score 31 second half points and win the game 31-27. Stop me if you've heard this before. The Falcons blow, a big lead to Tom Brady. They got to be sick and tired of playing against that guy. Bucs wide receiver Antonio Brown catches his first touchdown since week 2 of 2019. He says, quote, "It's been a long journey for me. As soon as I scored, I dropped to my knees and thank God," end quote. You know, it's nice to see Antonio Brown back in the league. He's too good of a talent not to be in the league. And, you know, it's about time we see him back making those great plays and, you know, being impactful for a team that is going to need him come playoff time. The Bucs improved to 9-5 and will play at the Lions on Saturday in Week 16. And the Bucs are a little bit of a mystery. You know, they're inconsistent from week to week, half to half. Are they still contenders in the NFC? You know, I think as long as you've got Tom Brady and all those weapons, you're a contender. You have the ability to go to the Super Bowl and win it, you know. But they got to prove it. They got to put it together consistently come playoff time. And they need to start now. You can't wait until wild card weekend to try to put it all together. And so we'll see. I have my questions, my doubts, but this is by far, I believe, the most talented team on paper in the NFC. So we'll see if the Bucs can do it. Let's go to Patriots Dolphins, where the Patriots jump out to a 6-0 halftime lead, but the Dolphins rally to win 22-12. I'm not too surprised by this, as the Patriots are known for struggling at Miami. I believe they've lost there the last 2 years in a row. So this would make 3 years in a row, I believe. I could be wrong. But I know they struggle at Miami. And, you know, the Dolphins improved to 9-5 and own the tiebreaker over the Ravens for the final playoff spot in the AFC. So they're in a tough fight with the Ravens, and the Dolphins will play at the Raiders on Saturday night in Week 16. A big game for Miami. But the Patriots are the big story in this one, as they officially are going to miss the playoffs, not even make it in for the first time since 2008. You know, the Patriots dynasty started in 2001 and with their first Super Bowl, and you know, I was 14 years old then. And they've been a fucking dynasty my entire life, pretty much, of watching football. And this is only the second time since then that they've missed the playoffs. So, you know, it's the end of an era, I believe, in New England. And their future is kind of up in the air. I mean, what are they going to do at quarterback? Are they going to bring Cam Newton back? I highly doubt it. You know, he was a disappointment this year. Do they need to draft a new franchise quarterback? I know they have Jarrett Stidham. And everyone says they believe in Jarrett Stidham, and you know, the Patriots are really high on him. But I have my questions there. You know, I think you need to get someone better. You know, and maybe trade up for someone like Mac Jones out of Bama or something. But we'll see what the Patriots do. But a lot of questions, and questions for Cam Newton as well, because, you know, this was supposed to be his 1-year prove-it deal. He took a veteran minimum, a 1-year deal, to go to New England to play for Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick and show off and show what he could do and earn a bigger deal, a long-term deal. And I don't think, you know, I think all of us would say he didn't do enough to do that. So we'll see. I think he'll get another job somewhere, but it might be as a backup role or a come in and compete role, you know, as opposed to, you know, you're going to start. And this is a new territory for Cam Newton. And to be honest, he hasn't been the same ever since that shoulder injury. You know, he had surgery on it. He was trying new throwing angles, new arm angles. And I just haven't seen enough accuracy and consistency from his arm ever since. And I don't think we will again. I think Cam Newton, unfortunately, his best days are behind him. So we'll see. A lot of question marks for both the Patriots and Cam. Let's go to the Bears and Vikings. My Bears at the Vikings, a playoff game for both these teams. Both sitting at 6-7, both needing the win out just to have a shot at making the playoffs. So a big game. I was really hyped for this one. The Bears jump out to a 20-7 first half lead and hang on to win 33-27. The Bears keep their playoff hopes alive while the Vikings drop 2 games back of the final wild card spot and have only a 3% chance of making the playoffs. So Minnesota, they're out. They're not coming back from that. The Bears stay alive. They improved to 7-7. A couple of questionable play calls in the game by Minnesota on 4th and short, resulting in turnover on downs, which were great defensive stops by Chicago. A career day for Bears running back David Montgomery, as he goes for 146 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. And if you listen to this podcast, I've been calling for that since we drafted him. Feed Montgomery, play, tough, physical, run the ball, play defense, Bears football, old school Bears football. And you can still win like that in today's NFL. And what's encouraging to me, after losing 6 straight, earlier, and now we're on a 2-game winning streak, the Bears seem to be playing their best football right now, and we'll see. They got the Jags in Week 16 and then the Packers Week 17. The Bears need to win out to make sure they make the playoffs, and they need the Cardinals to lose a game. But the Bears appear to be playing their best ball of the season as it's coming to an end. They could potentially end this season on a 4-game winning streak. Trubisky seems to be playing a lot better. He seems to be confident. I tweeted during the game, I was like, Trubisky isn't second-guessing himself. He's playing with confidence. He's stepping back, reading the field, and ripping it. And that's what we love to see out of Mitch. We've always been saying part of the issues was playing with a lack of confidence and second-guessing himself. And I believe a lot of that was Matt Nagy trying too much in his ear and trying to force him to play a certain style that he's not accustomed to. And now, ever since the benching, Trubisky's come back and been a lot more vocal about what he wants and what he likes and what he's comfortable with. And he just seems confident and vocal and decisive, and he's ripping it. And I love to see this, Mitch. I hope he keeps it up. I hope he leads us into the playoffs. And on top of that, the offensive line seems to be playing a lot better. Center Sam Mustipher is playing some good ball and leading. And other offensive linemen as well are stepping up their game. And that's leading to more success from David Montgomery, more success off of play action, and giving Trubisky a little bit more time in the pocket. And now, don't look now, but the Bears have 3 straight games with 30 or more points. And that's the first time this organization has done that since 2013. So, impressive to say the least. And I hope we can keep it up. At the Jags Week 16 is a very winnable game. I hope, we score 30-plus again and keep the confidence going into the game against Green Bay, because we're going to need it. Now, the Bears can make the playoffs at 8-8 if the Cardinals lose out. And the Cardinals have to host the 49ers on Saturday, and then they finish at the Rams Week 17. With the Rams' tough loss to the Jets, I think they're not going to be resting their starters. They're going to be trying to play. And so, that should be a good game and a good chance for the Rams to win that. But I think the last I heard, George Kittle is cleared to play on Saturday. So that 49ers-Cardinals game could be pretty damn good as well. As a Bears fan, I'm going to be watching that game with a 49ers jersey on, being like, let's go Niners, pull off this win, pull off this upset. So we'll see what happens there. So for the Vikings, some good news. So, not a lot of good news this year, but a little bit of good news here. Rookie wide receiver Justin Jefferson eclipses 1,000 yards receiving and breaks Randy Moss' record for catches by a Vikings rookie with 73. He's got 73 catches, over 1,100 yards receiving, and 7 touchdowns. So a hell of a rookie, Justin Jefferson. He was my wide receiver 1 coming out of the draft, and he's showing out in Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. Now let's go to Eagles at Cardinals, where a big game. I was going for the Eagles because we need the Cardinals to lose at least one more. But the Cardinals jump out to a 16-0 first quarter lead and hang on to win 33-26 in a hard-fought game. The Eagles have ever since switching to rookie quarterback Jalen Hurts, he's provided a spark, just like Doug Peterson had hoped for. But it may be too little too late. A tough loss here for Philly as they fall to 4-9-1. And the game wouldn't have been as close, really, had Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury, as you guys know if you listen to this podcast, I'm not a fan of. I don't think he has the resume to be an NFL head coach. And he's been going for it in this game alone, going for it too many times on fourth downs and ending up on turnover on downs. When you could be smarter about that. Kick field goals, punt the ball away. I'm not a fan of turnover on downs. They're momentum killers. They're, all that. So I've definitely got my doubts about Cliff Kingsbury. But, hey, if he leads the Cardinals to the playoffs, the joke will be on me, right? Cardinals improved to 8-6 and will host the 49ers on Saturday afternoon, a big game. I have my questions about the Cardinals, and it's not just Cliff Kingsbury and his play calling and situational game management. It's Kyler Murray as well. A lot of hype around the Cardinals going into the season, saying they should be a playoff team. They could potentially win their division, which is a tough division. But with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins to go with Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, Kenyon Drake, all these weapons. But Kyler Murray, he's explosive. He's a runner. He's got a great arm. He can make all the throws. But he's a little reckless with the football at times. Multiple turnovers in this game against the Eagles that kept the game close. A bad fumble, a bad interception in the end zone. So he's got to clean some of that up, especially come playoff time, especially these final 2 weeks, as, the Cardinals have to feel the Bears hot on their heels trying to get into the playoffs. The Bears have the tiebreaker over the Cardinals, so if they have a tied record, the Bears get in, the Cardinals do not. So we'll see if the Cardinals can hang on and make the playoffs. I'll be rooting against them, be rooting for it. But big game on Saturday. Make sure and watch out on Cardinals 49ers. Major playoff implications there. So, yeah, lots of great football. We're going to keep track of all these games because so much is coming up in these final 2 weeks.